Scrapped stock spiral. Regulators to probe Adani companies. Adani assures investors.
Our board strongly felt that it would not have been morally correct to proceed with the FPO.
But will it be enough? What next for Adani?
India Today late last night broke the big story of the Adani Group scrapping its follow-on public offer. 20,000 crore public offer scrapped until further notice. Money to be returned to investors. But while the political fire burns, there are 7 crucial questions that people are sort of hinting at but don't have the guts to go ahead and ask directly. And I'm going to do that here on 5 Live, the channel that's leading coverage on the Adani story. Thanks for being with me. I'm Shiv Aroor. These are the headlines. Adani storm rocks Parliament. Both houses adjourned after sloganeering. Opposition demands probe by a parliamentary panel. Auspicious Shaligram Shila in Ayodhya. Holy ancient rocks to be used in the construction and sculpture of the Ram and Sita idols. Devotees worship the holy rocks in Ayodhya. Enforcement Directorate's explosive claim says Delhi liquor scam cash was used to fund Aam Aadmi Party's poll campaign in Goa. Kejriwal dismisses the charge sheet, calls all allegations fictional and fabricated. YS Sharmila dares Telangana Chief Minister again, gifts shoes to KCR, dares him to walk with her for a day. Trouble continues to mount for Pakistan. International Monetary Fund rejects Pakistan's revised debt management plan, calls it unrealistic. It's only the latest in a spiraling disaster for the country. Last night, India Today scooped what is quite simply the biggest financial story of this time. India Today told you that Gautam Adani has pulled the plug from his fully subscribed follow-on public offer or FPO. Cut to today, and Dalal Street continues to punish Adani stocks despite the group calling off its mega 20,000 crore rupee FPO. Earlier today, Group Chairman Gautam Adani issued a statement saying the FPO was called off to insulate investors from potential losses because of the volatility in the stocks right now. Well, the fall in Adani stocks today comes even as reports have emerged of SEBI and the Reserve Bank of India taking a closer look at the Adani FPO and the financing. The big question now is, how will the cancellation of this 20,000 crore rupee FPO impact the airport, road and green hydrogen plans of Adani Enterprises, one of the biggest corporate enterprises in the country?
After a fully subscribed FPO, yesterday's decision of his withdrawal would have surprised many. But considering the volatility of the market seen yesterday, our board strongly felt that it would not have been morally correct to proceed with the FPO.
Adani Group Chairman's video statement hours after justifying the stunning withdrawal of Adani Enterprises FPO, putting paid to the group's ambitious plans to trim some of its mountainous debt and expand its operations. Adani Enterprises had planned to deploy 3,335 crore rupees immediately in the last 2 months of current fiscal and a total of 7,535 crore rupees over the next 14 months. As per the company's disclosure, 4,165 crore rupees was to be used for repayment of loans. 10,869 crore rupees was to be deployed in several projects of the green hydrogen ecosystem. Improvement works of certain existing airport facilities like the Ahmedabad Airport project and construction of Greenfield Expressway under its road and highway subsidiary. The FPO money was to come in two parts, half of the money at the time of the application and later on calls spread over 2 years.
अदानी एंटरप्राइज का ये एफपीओ बहुत ही सही समय पर आया है और हमारी 10 वर्षीय कैपिटल प्लानिंग का ये हिस्सा है जो कंपनी के फुल्ली फंडेड और डी रिस्क ग्रोथ प्लान के अनुरूप है. This decision will not have any impact on our existing operations as well as our future plans. We will continue to focus on timely executions and delivery of projects.
Adani Enterprises acts like a holding company for the group and has incubated new businesses in capital-guzzling infrastructure sectors. The company had actually planned to use the FPO funds for new sunrise businesses. Despite assurances by the group chairman, the bloodbath in the stock markets is expected to hit Adani Enterprises hard. The current stock market sentiment towards Adani Group will now force the Ahmedabad headquartered group to raise high-cost debt or scale back its ambitious expansion plans. With its share price dropping nearly 45% in the past 1 week, the company's power to raise loans against equity has also declined. The Hindenburg report has also international lenders to handle Adani Group bonds with kid gloves, with reports that at least 2 global giants have stopped accepting them as collateral for margin lending. The group may, as a result, be forced to raise funds at a higher rate than it traditionally has. The one big upside, though, is the group's commitment to green energy, for which the government has ensured easy funding. Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
And the team that's been keeping India Today and Business Today ahead on the big Adani story with record-breaking coverage yesterday, right through budget day, and that huge evening news break on the Adani FPO cancellation. Siddharth Zarabi, managing editor, Business Today TV, Aba Bakaya, senior editor, with us here at Business Today as well, live with us. Thanks for being with me, the both of you. It's really been a non-stop week, hasn't it? Siddharth, starting with you, all eyes after last night we're going to be on what happens on Dalal Street today, with the Adani stock, and whether there's going to be any clarity on the road forward. What was the big takeaway for you from today, Siddharth?
Well, the big takeaway is that as far as the markets are concerned, a bottom for the Adani stocks hasn't been found, and no one can find it, no one can call it, and it's certainly not our intention to talk about the bottom. But a fact is that between 56% to 22% of market cap of the Adani pack, as it is called, Adani Total Gas, the highest loser at 56%, followed by the FPO entity, Adani Enterprises, just around 55%. And if we keep looking at this share fall, tomorrow you will have one more day of trade. But between the 24th of January to the 2nd of February, Shiv, these 10 days are actually, they basically a new era in some ways has started for the Adani Group. 10 days back, if you had asked me the same question, my answer would have been very different. Today, there are very few analysts who are venturing out in public to take a call. The big question, as we discussed last night, and I'll quickly frame that again for our viewers to comprehend, is for a fast-growing, mega sort of industrial conglomerate like Adani Group, this is a massive wake-up call with regard to future financing and the future growth rate that this company wants to enjoy. And, while Mr. Adani has stepped back, that's a corporate call. It's the board that has decided to do that. And there are two views on that, Shiv. Some people say it was obviously due to the 34-35% value erosion and the mark-to-market losses that this happened. There is another view that by stepping at this time, and I'm quoting somebody in the market who has asked me not to name him, he called it a master stroke. We'll have to see if eventually it proves to be either of the two.
Okay, so some are actually calling it a masterstroke. I did, in fact, see quite a few, comments calling this move, bold and prudent and things like that. Abha, Gautam Adani came out with a video statement as well today after that notification to the, to the stock exchanges yesterday, as well as a press release that came out. Has Mr. Adani added anything more? To what we already know, or was it, just one of those things? The boss needed to put out that message and reach out to investors, in person.
I hear you, Shiv, and I think largely he was trying to reassure the investor community, also come out himself, right, and save face, so to say. But, what was more interesting was what he didn't say. I mean, he's still talking about how the company is, well intact, on the road to growth. There is no fundamental problem. He clearly said that in his video, but he still hasn't addressed the questions around the group's leverage. Now, today on the stock markets as well, and we've been hearing, of course, from various global banks are already pulling out. We've been hearing from a whole host of other brokerages about how the Indian banks, or specific Indian banks, LIC, etc., are leveraged towards Adani. And regardless of the quantum, even if it's only 0.6% of the Indian banking system, it's still a formidable amount. And that's the big question.
It is, and it remains a big question for which, clarity is still awaited, along with 7 other questions that I'm going to be asking in just a moment. Siddharth, thanks very much for joining me, for that brief question. I know Siddharth and his team will be preparing for more coverage that you'll be seeing on BTTV as well as here on India Today through prime time on the Adani story. Abha continues to stay with me to answer some of those questions. But before that, Business Today's triple engine team, the one that's been keeping us completely ahead, miles ahead of everyone else, including Hindi channels, including all business channels on this crucial financial story. Udayan Mukherjee, Siddharth Zarabi and Abha, who's with me here, spoke to Kotak Asset Management's MD, Nilesh Shah, just a short while ago on what the repercussions of the Adani Group pulling the plug on this FPO could be. And if there are more concerns for the global markets, very, very crucial. Listen into this.
The withdrawal of the FPO, extraordinary circumstances and situations in the Indian market, and also for a large, fast-growing group like the Adani Group. Your first thoughts really, Nilesh, before all of us jump in?
From the investor point of view of the FPO, it's a very good move. They were staring at a mark-to-market losses immediately on investment. With the cancellation of FPO, that loss is avoided. So certainly beneficial for FPO investors. From the existing investors to lenders point of view, they have to reassess whether withdrawal of FPO would have any impact on the balance sheets or the growth plan. So essentially, depending upon where you are, you will have to evaluate your position.
Would it be a fair question to ask Nilesh Shah at this stage that post the Adani incident, wherever there is large external debt of Indian companies, the risk premium will shoot up sharply? I'm taking this point beyond the immediate group, and whether there are broader concerns that you feel are likely to emerge.
So again, I don't think so that is likely to happen. For decades, India has received a far tighter spread compared to what its credit rating suggested. Number 2, while Adani bonds are getting impacted, other Indian bonds are still trading at where they were trading before. Number 3, as US interest rates have gone up and forwards have come down, the cost of borrowing in rupee market is now cheaper than cost of borrowing in global market on a fully hedged basis. There are few institutions like Exim Bank which has borrowed money in global market in recent times, but by and large companies are finding that rupee market is cheaper service global market. And to the Udayan point, when Satyam Saga opened, I was working in ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund, and you can check our portfolios. We had zero holding in Satyam Computer Services Limited. We had asked this question to Satyam management then, you show so much cash on the balance sheet, but where is the return? So it's not that mutual fund guys don't do the research. They do research. Sometimes we are right, sometimes we are wrong.
This was not intended for Nilesh at all. My point was a broader point, that all this great research which happens on Dalal Street sometimes actually misses the point completely. They are research analysts sitting in their own cubbyholes in Lower Parel, and they're doing numbers. It's all Excel sheet management.
Quick point before we head across for a break. Do debt investors do much better research? I believe to some extent that happens.
It may, but you look at the behavior of global rating agencies and how many times they have got caught out in the last 20 years. I mean, they are supposed to be the gold standard of this kind of debt-oriented research. And look at how S&P and Moody's have faltered over the last. People have lost all respect for rating agencies at a corporate level. So, I mean, what does all this research mean? I am not saying Adani Group's assets mean nothing. All that I am saying is that once things start unraveling, they have a habit of unraveling very quickly beyond what you think is possible, and therefore it's prudent to be cautious about how much can be liquidated and what is actually owned by a corporate entity before jumping to conclusions.
Now, this is simply too big a story to ignore, and some of these questions have half answers, most of these questions have no answers, but they still need to be asked. So here are the big questions that India Today is asking at this time. Number one, will the cancellation of this FPO slow the bloodbath on Adani stocks? Now, we have a partial answer to that, but of course, we'll have to see how things go moving forward after today. Was this basically an act of cutting losses to stem worse damage? There appears to be consensus on that as well. Was this Gautam Adani's moral move, as he claims it was, or was this the corporate enterprise playing safe, seeing volatility? Number four, will this affect the Adani Group's growth plans? And there are many. Number five, will the Adani Group plan an FPO when things stabilize? He's also confirmed that the answer to that question is yes. Number six, how does this affect existing investors in the Adani Group? And will this blunt the political opposition's attack on the Adani Group, which is what's happening in Parliament at this point of time? And finally, was this a bold move to weather a bigger storm? So, Abha, I'll bring some of those questions to you. The bloodbath on Dalal Street, we saw what happened in the markets today. So that question appears to be answered. But, cutting losses to stem worse damage. I think the big question really is on everybody's mind is there worse ahead, or could this move sort of, stem the bleeding and put them in a position where they can navigate the turbulence a whole lot better?
So let's take a look at what happened today, Shiv, on the stock markets.
Yeah.
If we take a look at what happened today, we saw Adani Enterprises, which is the holding company for the entire group, see a loss of about 30%, right? Now, all of these stocks have already seen 30-40% lower since this entire carnage began. I mean, that's just in the span of like about a week, six, seven trading sessions. All the other Adani stocks, pretty much all of them were down at about 10% further again today. Only, I think, Adani Ports was up about down about 6%, so relatively still better. Now, if you put this into perspective, clearly these stocks are oversold. As an investor looking at this group company, would I look at possibly investing right now? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Until there's any some kind of clarity. Just because they have assets doesn't necessarily mean that these prices will be valuable. If they continue to deteriorate, because we have no clarity right now, if they continue to deteriorate, it's only further losses for any investor.
Right.
However, after some further cool off, and when valuations become even better, at those levels, you might start to see some buying activity resume. At that stage, it would be wise for investors to look at specific pickings within the Adani stocks.
Right.
So they do have stake, as you know, of course, in Ambuja ACC, which are slightly more insulated from this, being an acquired group. That will obviously continue to be something investors will pick up. Adani Ports is still something that could see some quality buying coming in at lower levels. Right. And then some of the others will take further time.
Final question in that case, Abha, is, and this is like I'm being basic about this, because in the statement, Mr. Adani does say that he will look at, funding future growth and, revisit this FPO possibility when things stabilize. Is there a view on when that could be or how long that could take?
You know, Shiv, we've been asking the same question, and I think that the foreign banks are clearly making it apparent that they're not going to be interested, at least anytime soon, right? We've already been seeing that in the reports that have coming in. Will he be able to raise it from, the domestic institutions? That remains to be seen. It's a big question mark. Regulatory questions are being raised.
Right.
There is a lack of transparency. So it still remains to be seen. But yes, at least returning that money to the investors this time is keeping him or saving him, in their good graces, to perhaps return to them at a better time. At least he'll still have some more goodwill.
Okay. Abha, thanks very much for getting us clarity on those crucial aspects of this. There are many more questions, and the BT TV team will be answering them in the days and the weeks ahead. Now, the ripples from this Adani situation, pulling the plug on that FPO, has gained momentum in today's Parliament session, as we had told you it would. The opposition parties, led by the Congress and its President Mallikarjun Kharge, questioned the Prime Minister's silence on the Adani revelations and demanded a joint parliamentary committee probe into the allegations against the Adani enterprise. The opposition were up in arms, and within just 6 minutes, Parliament was, you said it, it was adjourned. Take a look at this.
प्रश्नों से समस्या हल समाधान होती है. प्लीज जाइए अपने मिशन पर.
This is all that happened in Parliament today.
आज 2 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित की जाती है.
As the Adani controversy snowballed, the opposition had a one-point agenda for the budget session to demand answers from the government on the Hindenburg Adani papers. With the government making it clear that question hour will not be dropped, both houses were in session for a total of 6 minutes through the day.
The House stands adjourned to meet at 1100 hours on Friday, 3rd February 2023.
In a rare show of unity, opposition parties came together to raise their voice against the government and insist on an in-depth probe. The Congress led the fight both in and outside the House on the Adani showdown.
हमने एक नोटिस दी थी 267 के तहत, और ये नोटिस पे हम चर्चा चाहते थे, लेकिन हर वक्त हमारे नोटिसेस रिजेक्ट होते हैं और महत्वपूर्ण जो विषय है, मुद्दे हैं, जब हम उठाते हैं तो उसको चर्चा का अवकाश नहीं मिलता.
Other parties have echoed Congress's stand, accusing the Prime Minister of shielding Adani.
अमृतकाल में ये महाघोटाला है और इस महाघोटाले पे सदन में चर्चा कराओ, सुप्रीम कोर्ट से मॉनिटर्ड इसकी पूरी जांच कराओ और जेपीसी बनाओ. इस डिमांड के साथ हम लोग पार्लियामेंट में अपनी आवाज आज भी उठाए हैं, आगे भी उठाते रहेंगे.
जिस तरीके से घोटाला हम देख रहे हैं 2014 से एक ही ग्रुप को जिस तरीके का फायदा हो रहा है, फोर्ब्स में नंबर 3 या 4 पे आ जाते हैं और अब गिरावट हो रही है, ये सिर्फ स्टॉक मैनिपुलेशन और स्टॉक की ओवर प्राइसिंग की वजह से हुआ है. इसीलिए हम चाह रहे हैं कि एक जॉइंट पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी का गठन हो.
वी वांट अ प्रॉपर इन्वेस्टिगेशन इनटू व्हाट हैज हैपेंड, व्हाई दिस हैपेंड, एंड फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग. We can't just have these responses and close the chapter.
Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee meanwhile claimed that the government was close to collapse as a result of the market crash.
কালকে তো প্রায় সরকার পড়ে যাচ্ছিল. কেন পড়ে যাচ্ছিল? শেয়ার বাজারে ধস নেমেছিল. এবার কাউকে রিকোয়েস্ট করে, আমরা জানি তারা কারা, নামগুলো বলে আর আমি তাদের দুর্বিষহ করতে চাই না.
The showdown in Parliament is only likely to escalate in the coming days as the government has refused to budge, saying that the slotted discussion on the President's address must be allowed to go on. With the opposition breathing fire on the government over the Adani controversy, how long can the government hold off on a discussion in Parliament? Bureau Report, India Today.
And coming up next, we're taking you straight to beautiful Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh to show you how ancient rocks from Nepal have just arrived in Ayodhya. What are these rocks all about and what's going to be coming from these rocks? We'll take you straight to the holy city to tell you. That's next.
I propose to increase the rebate limit to 7 lakhs.
Yet again, the nation trusts India Today TV. Highest concurrent users during the Budget 2023 speech. Most watched news channel on YouTube live. India Today #1.
A university founded by the world's first non-European Nobel laureate. More than 100 years later, Vishwa Bharati at Rabindranath Tagore's Shanti Niketan locked in a land dispute with another Nobel Prize winner, Professor Amartya Sen. The university has accused the 90-year-old of occupying a portion of campus land in excess of his entitlement. Professor Sen has disputed the claim and accused the central institution of harassment. Earlier this week, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee stepped in. She stood beside the elderly economist, a vocal critic of the Modi government and the BJP. The CM produced land records she insisted supported Professor Sen's complete entitlement of the land under his possession. The Chief Minister also alleged saffronization attempts on Vishwa Bharati's campus. The West Bengal Chief Minister sought Prime Minister Narendra Modi's intervention, saying she would write a formal letter to him in this regard. The university has responded. Vishwa Bharati has instead accused the state chief minister of listening to sycophants. A new political war in West Bengal with an academic institution and icons at its center. Bureau Report, India Today.
It's a new fad in India. Chai shops listing the owner's educational qualifications. Meet engineer chaiwala from Uttarakhand's Haldwani. Pankaj Pandey, a 28-year-old diploma holder in mechanical engineering, is a hit in the town.
मैंने मैकेनिकल से पॉलिटेक्निक किया हुआ है गवर्नमेंट पॉलिटेक्निक गरूर से, तो उसके साथ साथ मैं अपनी जेई के लिए तैयारी भी करता रहता हूँ, जूनियर इंजीनियर के एग्जाम्स के लिए. और जो मेरा मेन जो विजन है वो इसी को आगे लेके जाना है, इंजीनियर चाय वाले को.
Pandey used to work at a call center in Noida earlier. While he is proud to run a tea shop, he is also attempting to clear entrance exams for further education.
अपकमिंग जो भी जेई के एग्जाम्स होंगे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के मैकेनिकल के लिए, उनकी तैयारी कर रहा हूँ. और लेकिन मैकेनिकल की तो वैसे वैकेंसी निकलना बहुत कम हो चुका है, कई सारे डिपार्टमेंट तो बहुत बिल्कुल ख़त्म ही कर दी है वैकेंसी, लेकिन फिर भी एक उम्मीद है.
Pandey's chai is popular among locals and tourists alike.
कुछ ना कुछ तो करना ही है. अच्छा कर रखा है उनने, यहाँ पे चाय की दुकान खोल दी है और बहुत बढ़िया चाय अच्छी लग रही है, टेस्ट बहुत है.
बेरोजगारी बहुत है सर आजकल, इसलिए भैया ने अपना खोल लगा छोटा मोटा काम, क्योंकि बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है यहाँ पर. इनका रेगुलर लगाते हैं सर, सुबह 4 से 9 बजे तक लगाते हैं.
Pankaj Pandey opens his tea stall every evening for 2 hours. Bureau Report, India Today.
The big ticket union budget for 2023 comes with a slew of benefits for the Aam Aadmi.
Persons in the new tax regime with income up to 7 lakhs will not have to pay any tax at all.
In what can be regarded as a tax bonanza for the salaried and the middle class, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman raised the cap on income tax exemption and cut tax rates under the new tax regime. The biggest relief, there will be no income tax for up to 7 lakh rupees in the new tax regime, up from the previous threshold of 5 lakh rupees.
Currently, those with income up to 5 lakh do not pay any income tax in both old and new regimes. I propose to increase the rebate limit to 7 lakhs in the...
If your income is more than 7 lakh rupees and you opt for the new tax regime, then these slabs will apply. No tax up to 3 lakh rupees, that is 2,500 rupees in your pocket compared with earlier rates in the new regime. From 3 to 6 lakh rupees, the rates are 5%, you can benefit up to 7,500 rupees. 6 to 9 lakh rupees, you will be taxed at 10%, a saving of 15,000 rupees when compared with earlier. In the 9 to 12 lakh rupee category, at a rate of 15%, you will save 25,000 rupees. From 12 to 15 lakh, the rate is 20% and the benefit 37,500 rupees. Above 15 lakh rupees, you will be taxed at 30%.
I propose to change the tax structure in this regime by reducing the number of slabs to 5 and increasing the tax exemption limit to 3 lakhs. The new tax rates are 0 to 3 lakh, nil. 3 to 6 lakhs, 5%. 6 to 9 lakhs, 10%. 9 to 12 lakh, 15%. 12 to 15 lakhs, 20%. And above 15 lakhs, 30%. Citizens.
The centre also cut the maximum income tax rate to 39% and reduced the highest surcharge to 25% from the earlier 37%. For income above 15.5 lakh rupees, standard deduction is introduced, which will benefit you by 52,500 rupees.
And despite
but there's a catch. The benefits will only apply under the new tax regime and not the old.
We are also making the new income tax regime as the default tax regime. However, citizens will continue to have the option to avail the benefit of the old tax regime.
The centre is also making the new tax regime the default option for this fiscal year. The Finance Minister, however, has clarified no taxpayer will be forced to adhere to the new tax regime. They can choose the old regime that gives exemptions on saving schemes, house rent, etc. if they choose. Bureau Report, India Today.
A mega trek of faith like no other. Divine journey to Ayodhya Ram Mandir. A rock-solid faith for Ram Temple. Deluge of devotion from Nepal to Ayodhya. Vedic chants. Jai Shri Ram echo. Dharm, devotion and divine shalak. Biggest trip of Astha on Mandir Marg. Ram Mandir rising.
11 months to go for the Ram Mandir to be open to millions of devotees in India and across the world. And the main part of the mandir, the idols, have arrived. Well, not the idols, but the rocks from which the idols are going to be carved. I'm going to take you straight to Ayodhya because the festive fervor has gripped the holy town as the holy Shaligram stones, as they're called, have reached the Ram Mandir site from Nepal. As the celebrations erupt in the city, let's take you through the top defining images from the holy town. Devotees have gathered in large numbers in Ayodhya today to offer prayers to the holy Shaligram stones brought from Nepal. Seers, saints and devotees are queuing up with flowers to perform puja around the Shaligram rocks from which the idols of Sita and Ram will be sculpted. While some devotees have gathered to offer prayers, some have queued outside barricades to just catch a glimpse of the two holy rocks brought in from Nepal. Huge crowds at Ayodhya as the festive fervor kicks in. These are images from just a short while ago. Locals have gathered to decorate the two holy stones brought in from across the border. Devotees can be seen decorating the Shilas with flowers ahead of the puja that was held around these two monoliths. The journey of the holy stones to Ayodhya was a festival in itself, with devotees queuing up throughout the journey in different places and blowing trumpets and bugles along the side of the truck that was carrying the two holy rocks from Nepal. Meanwhile, remember, Ram Mandir construction is in full swing. While the Sanctum Sanctorum will be ready to place the Murti by next year's Makar Sankranti festival, the construction will reach the top of the temple by mid-2024, 15th to Jan 2023. Well, it has to be seen to be believed. This is an article of faith. This is a monument that devotees of Lord Ram and Sita have been waiting for a very long time. And what you see in Ayodhya today is an ancient tradition. Centuries-old holy rocks from Nepal's Gandaki River have been brought in ceremonially to the holy city. The two rocks, which are being worshipped in their own right, will be used to carve out the holy idols of Lord Ram and Ma Sita in the splendid Ram temple, whose construction is a little over half done. Remember, the 1st of January 2024 is when they will be opened to the public. From saints to local residents, people are offering prayers to the holy rocks. Take a look at this ground report by India Today's team of reporters. The holy city of Ayodhya, soaked in colors of saffron and devotion. The devotees rejoicing, welcoming a divine rock with rock-solid faith. The city of Ram laying out the red carpet to the holy Shaligram. A mammoth 60 million-year-old rock directly from Nepal's holy Gandak River, which made a journey of faith with a sea of devotees.
जैसा कि कहा जाता है कि मध्य प्रदेश में नर्मदा नदी है और नर्मदा का हर एक कंकर साक्षात शंकर, उसी प्रकार से नेपाल की भूमि में गंडकी नदी में कोई भी पत्थर है वो साक्षात शालिग्राम भगवान का स्वरूप माना जाता है। और वहां से चल करके यह पत्थर यहाँ पर आया, तो हम लोगों के लिए बड़ा सौभाग्य की बात है यह शिला यहाँ पर आई, क्योंकि इस शिला के द्वारा राम जी का निर्माण होना है।
आज इतना जो है खुश है कि जीवन सफल हो गया हम लोगों का, भगवान राम का जो है चेहरा देख करके और उनको जो है माता जानकी जी का जो है चेहरा देख करके बिल्कुल जान लीजिए मोदी और योगी मैं हो गया है।
The Shaligram is revered and worshipped as a form of Bhagwan Vishnu himself and will be used to carve out the idols of Ram and Sita for the new mandir. The Shaligram Yatra is a booster dose of faith for countless devotees waiting eagerly for the mega unveiling of the grand Ram Mandir on the next Makar Sankranti just months from now.
राम नाम की नैया लेकर सतगुरु करे पुकार, आओ मेरी नैया में ले जाऊंगा भव पार।
The giant shaligrams were dispatched from Nepal in a long and colourful procession with thousands of devotees in attendance. The divine rocks hold special significance for the devotees who have been worshipping shaligrams since eons.
A precious stone is considered and defined as the symbol of God Vishnu. Or since Ram is also incarnation of the Vishnu, God Vishnu, that's why it is very relevant. It is not only very, the only relevancy of this stone is that the idol of Ram Lala, Bhagavan, in Ram temple, will be made of this stone.
The construction of the splendid Ram temple in Ayodhya is underway and will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on New Year's Day 2024. With Arpita Arya, Abhishek Mishra, Shilpi Sen and Navjot Kaur in Ayodhya, Uttar Pradesh. Bureau Report, India Today. And India Today's Arpita Arya is in Ayodhya, where that spiritual fervour is soaring among the Ram Lalla devotees. Here's the report she just sent us a moment ago.
यहाँ पे पूजा का एक तरीके से कहिए तो बस समापन कार्य चल रहा है आम लोगों के लिए। अब शिला के दर्शन के लिए वो मार्ग खोला गया है ताकि लोग वहां पहुंचे, क्योंकि अयोध्या से भी एक जन सैलाब सा उमड़ा है। हर कोई बस इनके दर्शन और पूजन और इनको देख लेना चाहता है। तो अब देखिए आप ऐसे ही, दरअसल अब ये जो आप देख रहे होंगे, ये जो पूरा परिसर बनाया गया है, इसके लोग परिक्रमा करते हुए भी नजर आ रहे हैं। अपनी अपनी मान्यताएं, लोग कह रहे हैं कि सिर्फ शिला नहीं है, ऐसा मानिए कि राम जी यहाँ पर प्रकट हो गए हैं। और यहाँ पर कई लोग भी यहाँ पहुंचे, उनसे हम बात करने की कोशिश करते हैं। यहाँ पर प्रधानमंत्री, उप प्रधानमंत्री हैं पूर्व विमलेंद्र निधि, वो हमारे साथ इस वक्त जुड़े हैं। सर, आज का दिन कितना महत्वपूर्ण देखते हैं आप?
आज का दिन पूरे हिंदू धर्मावलंबियों के लिए, उतना ही नहीं सभी धर्म मानने वालों के लिए, मानव प्राणी के लिए ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण दिन है, क्योंकि राम लला की मूर्ति प्रतिमा बनाने के लिए नेपाल के काली गंडकी नदी से शिला हमने यहाँ समर्पण किया है, कल ला के दिया है। इसलिए ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण दिन है मेरे लिए। तो मेरे
ये तो आप समझिए कि आप माँ जानकी के ससुराल आए हैं, वो अनुभव कैसा है?
बहुत ही अच्छा। माँ जानकी के ससुराल में आके बड़ी खुशी लगी है। अब थोड़ा सा इच्छा ये भी है कि माँ जानकी के ससुराल में जब आए हैं तो राम के बहन लोगों से भी मुलाकात हो, ये भी हम चाहते हैं। अगर आप प्रतिनिधित्व करती हो तो बड़ी खुशी होगी।
जब आप अपनी बहन दे चुके हैं तो ऐसा मत कहिए, जब आप अपनी बहन दे चुके हैं तो इस तरह मत कहिए।
मैं अपनी बहन को तो दे ही चुका हूँ राम जी को।
तो मर्यादा मत तोड़िए, मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम की नगरी है।
देखिए ये राम और सीता के ससुराल, एक दूसरे के ससुराल में आदर पूर्वक ही ये आपको व्यंग किया जाता है, गालियां दी जाती है, उसमें कोई मर्यादा भंग नहीं होता है।
नेपाल और भारत का बेटी रोटी का संबंध था और हमेशा ये संबंध बरकरार रहेगा, इसको कोई ताकत तोड़ नहीं सकती है।
और कुछ वाला
और ये जैसे ये जो शिलाएं आई हैं, क्योंकि 80 दिनों की खोज के बाद इन 2 शिलाओं को चुना गया और उसमें एक में मैं देख रही हूँ माता सीता का नाम है, एक में श्री राम का नाम लिखा हुआ है। और ये प्रतीक के तौर पर लोगों का तो ये मानना है कि यहाँ पर अभी राम प्रकट हो गए हैं। आप लोग जब पूरे यात्रा को देख रहे हैं तो वो अनुभव आपका कैसा रहा, क्योंकि नेपाल से आप अयोध्या?
बिल्कुल, राम प्रकट हो गए हैं और राम प्रकट होने का मतलब ये हुआ कि हम काली गंडकी नदी में राम प्रकट हो गए, जिसको लाके मैंने राम के अपने घर में वहाँ पर पहुँचाने आया हूँ। तो ये बड़ी खुशी की बात है और ये तय वो लोग यहाँ के ट्रस्ट लोग तय करेंगे कि इसे रामलला की मूर्ति कैसी बनाना है, क्या बनाना है, ये इनके अधिकार की बात है।
लेकिन ये भी बड़ी बात है कि आप वहाँ देश के एक बड़े नेता होकर यहाँ पर आप पहुँचे हैं और बाकायदा आपने इसको एक तरीके से कहिए दान पूजा, ये दान पूजा ही एक तरीके से हुई है। अब ये किस तरीके से इसका मूर्ति निर्माण होना है, क्या होना है, वो आगे की प्रक्रिया है। लेकिन इसके बारे में मान्यता नेपाल में क्या है? शालिग्राम, जिसको लेकर भारत में अलग अलग मान्यताएं हैं, और कौन सी मान्यता है जिसका?
देखिए, भारत और नेपाल में देखिए हर बारे में अलग अलग मान्यता होती है, लेकिन काली गंडकी से में मिलने वाला जो शिला होता है वो शालिग्राम ही होता है। और शालिग्राम का कई रंग है जो लोगों को मालूम नहीं है, और शालिग्राम के ही कई किस्म, 35 प्रकार के शालिग्राम होते हैं, जिसमें से ये शालिग्राम है और इसको यहाँ हम लोग लाए हैं। इसमें आप लोग अपने अपनी मन की बात है, स्वतंत्रता है, आज़ादी है, सब जिसको जो विचार है वो कहते हैं।
Ayodhya and the Ram Mandir have always been emotive and sensitive words for millions of Indians. They're part of our history, culture, religion, mythology, our life for generations and centuries. It's been a long-drawn struggle politically and in the courts of law before it could again emerge in all its devout glory. Let's rewind and take a look at how time has passed through the Shiv Aroor river by the bank of the Ayodhya.
Ayodhya is the administrative headquarters of what used to be Faizabad district of Uttar Pradesh and is now renamed the district of Ayodhya. Ayodhya and Faizabad are also twin cities that in a way represented the age-old syncretic nature of how things had always been in this part of the country. Ayodhya on the banks of river Saryu, with its temple-dotted skyline. In consciousness lies somewhere between myth and history. It is a city that is said to go back eons, to times when history has no record but memory exists in its mythology. Till recently it was a city like any other, battling civic promises that were made but never kept. Yet for millions, Ayodhya was special, if not for anything else, but the fact that they believed beyond doubt, beyond reason, beyond time, that their God in his human avatar had been born in this very place. There is reason to celebrate for the devotees of Ram, because in the city of Ayodhya, a 200-year-old dispute over a plot of land had finally been put to rest. In the court of man was decided the abode of gods. And on 5th of August 2020, the foundation was laid to build the grandest, the finest temple to mark the spot where Ram was believed to have been born.
मंदिर हनुमानगढ़ी से भी ऊंचा राम जन्मभूमि का बन रहा है, बनना भी चाहिए, क्योंकि इनके आराध्य हैं, इनके स्वामी हैं, इनके सरकार हैं, तो सरकार का मंदिर तो भव्य और दिव्य होना चाहिए। इसीलिए मैंने पहले भी कहा कि हनुमान जी को अति प्रसन्नता है।
Since those dramatic days of 1992 demolition, the devout have been visiting the site where the idol of infant Ram sat under a tent surrounded by heavy security.
And we'll keep you posted on what's happening in Ayodhya. Coming up after this very short break, the Enforcement Directorate has just taken the Liquorgate scandal to the next level with an explosive claim. We'll tell you about it next.
The economy has become a lot more.
The big news of the day. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's speech for Budget 2023, at least that was how it was meant to be. Until Gautam Adani-controlled companies took the limelight away. This was the share price of Adani Enterprises at close of trade, down 838 rupees or a whopping 28.2%. That's not all. In its unobstructed slide, the stock hit the lower circuit 5 times today. At 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% and then 25%, shattering them all to shed 35% of its value before recovering in late trade. The real rout began after 1 p.m. with a report that Credit Suisse had stopped accepting bonds of Adani Group as collateral for margin loans to its private banking clients. This was a clear sign of deeper scrutiny into Gautam Adani's finances after allegations of fraud by short seller Hindenburg Research. The report also said that Swiss Lender's private banking arm has assigned a zero lending value for notes sold by Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone and Adani Green Energy. This means that its clients will have to come up with other forms of collateral or have their securities liquidated. For Gautam Adani, who earlier this week received the keys to the strategic Haifa port in Israel, which he won in a global tender, the day's agony did not end there. Adani Ports ended up falling more than 19%. Ambuja Cements was down nearly 17%, while Wilmar, Power, Total Gas and NDTV hit the lower circuit. Also taking the fall for the Adani Group were financial institutions who have lent to the conglomerate. LIC fell more than 8%. ICICI Prudential and HDFC Life both were down more than 10%. SBI Life lost nearly a tenth of its value, while SBI was down 5%. Meanwhile, of the 8 lakh crore rupees wiped out this year, a large portion is of Gautam Adani, who has slipped below Mukesh Ambani in a real-time billionaires list. Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
यकीन मानिए पहला सप्तर्षि में पहला इंक्लूसिव डेवलपमेंट। कोई एक धारा दिखा दीजिए कि इंक्लूसिव मॉडल हो। बेरोजगारों की संख्या कितनी है? कई करोड़ में है। और आपके पास क्या मॉडल है रोजगार के लिए? तो आपने गोल गोल बातें की हैं, कोई भी ठोस ब्लूप्रिंट नहीं है। तो फिर ये आम बजट कैसे हुआ साहब? ये तो खास लोगों का, खास लोगों द्वारा खास तरह से बनाया गया बजट है।
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
An important India Today exclusive news break. The first mention of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's name in the Enforcement Directorate charge sheet in the liquor scam investigation has just been accessed by India Today. First in exclusive here on your channel. The Enforcement Directorate claims that the Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal spoke to the accused in the Liquorgate scandal, Sameer Mahendru, on FaceTime. The call was arranged by Aam Aadmi Party communications in charge Vijay Nair. Now Kejriwal vouched for Nair to Sameer on this very video call. Kejriwal said Vijay Nair is my boy and he can be trusted. The Enforcement Directorate in the charge sheet says that the accused Mahendru said that control of 65% stake in his Indo Spirits business was with K. Kavita, the Telangana Chief Minister's daughter, and also MSR known as Magunta Srinivasalu Reddy. Let's go straight across to India Today's Munish Pandey breaking the story first in exclusive here on India Today. Munish, the first time that Arvind Kejriwal's name has emerged in the charge sheet document that you've accessed. Take us through the details.
Well, Shiv, this is explosive because what the Enforcement Directorate has done, that for the first time they have come on record to say that Arvind Kejriwal not only spoke to certain accused in the case, but also he had meetings with certain politicians who wanted to do business in the case. Now, to break it down for our viewers, who is Vijay Nair? Vijay Nair, according to the Enforcement Directorate, is a communication in charge of Aam Aadmi Party, someone who was very close to Arvind Kejriwal. and Manish Sisodia. And Vijay Nair was the person who, according to ED, was the person who was conspiring with others to bring business, and he received kickbacks of more than 100 crore rupees. So he was someone very important and prime accused. Now Samir Mahendru is another accused in the case. When Samir Mahendru was initially involved to do business under this new excise liquor policy brought by Aam Aadmi Party, then to gain trust, Vijay Nair arranged a meeting with Arvind Kejriwal. But when it didn't materialize physically, then a FaceTime video call was arranged by Vijay Nair. Arvind Kejriwal, according to the Enforcement Directorate, spoke to Samir Mahendru over the FaceTime call. And in that FaceTime call, he said that Vijay Nair is my boy, he can be trusted and you can carry on with him. And then there were several meetings with Vijay Nair and Samir Mahendru, not only between each other, but also several politicians, including those who were very close to K. Kavita and certain businessmen who were involved in liquor business. Now, coming to the point number 2.
Yes.
MSR Magunta Reddy, another Andhra MP who was involved in this liquor scam. He was raided by the Enforcement Directorate. According to ED charge sheet, he wanted to do business in Delhi. But to understand what the new excise policy is, how beneficial it is going to be, he met Arvind Kejriwal. And Arvind Kejriwal assured in the physical meeting that it is going to be beneficial. You are welcome to do business in Delhi. So these are the allegations leveled by Enforcement Directorate against
Punish,
Arvind
this is
Kejriwal.
explosive. The document only with India Today. We're going to continue to track it. After this very short break, we've established that big primetime news break. Arvind Kejriwal's name appearing in that Enforcement Directorate charge sheet on record for the first time. Those words and details, much more of that, right after this short break with Akshita Nandgopal. She will also be telling you about the Adani issue rocking Parliament. Both those big stories coming up next.
S. Shankar, a career diplomat, today leads India in global platforms with an elan that very few thought he would be able to. When Sushma Swaraj became seriously ill in the summer of 2019, this soft-spoken, multilingual recruit of 1976